Stepping down from the Constitutional Court yesterday, Judge Nhlanhla now officially starts his role as chair of the commission investigating claims of corruption in the police. Nhlanhla has been asked by the president to investigate claims by the KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. Mkhwanazi says he believes Senzo Mchunu is linked to a drugs syndicate, along with many other people. Jeremy Michaels is the spokesperson for the Commission of Inquiry. Jeremy, good morning. I do appreciate you coming in. Thank you very much indeed. First day officially of the commission, as the judge can now take over the chairing. What's actually happening at the moment? I imagine there's a ton of admin that needs to be done.
Absolutely, and good morning, Stephen. Thanks for having me in studio. So firstly, as you say, the judge has been juggling two roles. His 8 to 5 job at the Con Court. And today is his first day as the full-time chair of the commission. Having said that, the work has been going on behind the scenes. The investigators are busy, as they should be. We introduced the team on Monday, not the full team, but the senior team. And the full team is yet to be finalized. So, yeah. There's quite a bit of consultation that's been going on behind the scenes, as I think Justice Nhlanhla indicated on Monday. We've got our hands full.
So are the investigators at this point, early days, are they actually going through some of the evidence? I imagine, you would re-watch the briefing by Mkhwanazi, perhaps also ask him to put some of it on affidavit, things like that.
Well, I mean, firstly, it's an investigation. It's very sensitive. And needless to say, we don't want to ventilate exactly what the team is up to in public. But I can assure you and the public that the team is hard at work, has been already, and our mandate is clear. The terms of reference published in the Government Gazette by the President last week are quite wide, and at the heart of it is the allegation by General Mkhwanazi, or a range of allegations, including that criminal syndicates have infiltrated and unduly influenced a range of law enforcement agencies, South African Police Service, and that includes the Political Killings Task Team and Crime Intelligence, the State Security Agency, the National Prosecuting Authority, Department of Correctional Services, and there's a long list. And also, of course, the 3 police departments in the Gauteng metros. So we have a very wide brief, time is of the essence.
So, on one level, a wide brief is very helpful because it helps you to get to the bottom of things. No one can say you can't investigate that, it's not in your terms of reference. On the other point, sometimes it can be too wide. So, for example, what is state capture? Is it only to do something to do with the, just to use the Zondo Commission as example, is it something to do with the Guptas, or is it actually something to do with some of the other service providers to correctional services, for example? Are you a little worried that width might actually mean the Commission lacks a bit of focus?
Look, I think it's an important question, but given, and we are focused on the allegations by the KZN Police Commissioner, but having said that, we don't know where it's going to lead. And so we have taken the brief, the terms of reference, and obviously within the prescriptions of what is contained therein, the team is getting into it. And again, we don't know where it's going to lead. We don't know who's going to come forward with what. And so we'll see where it leads us.
We've seen 2 legal organizations, NADEL, and I think it's the Association of Black Lawyers, who have been very critical of the decision to only include advocates rather than attorneys. Now, I'm quite happy to watch lawyers fight it out with each other. But are you going to actually make a deliberate attempt to include some attorneys in this?
Look, I think firstly, we've received the correspondence and of course acknowledged the correspondence. It's unfortunate that it's circulating in the public domain. without us having been able to, and almost immediately. But having said that, we are keen to engage with the BLA, Nadal and others around these issues. And so, in a situation where there is a complaint and, these are important matters, clearly, for the parties who are complaining and also for us. So it's best for us to engage each other, hopefully sit down as soon as possible. And, again, obviously, the chair of the commission has been, for the last few days, preparing for his last judgment in the Constitutional Court yesterday, and his farewell, excuse me, after a very long time on the bench. And so we are going to be dealing with those matters very shortly.
During the Zondo Commission, we saw some people testifying only through their voice. We couldn't identify them. I wouldn't know who they are, although Dudu Myeni did break the provision at one point. In this case, and we could see from the way in which Mkhwanazi presented his claims, I mean, surrounded by guns, wearing, sort of special forces fatigues, that there is clearly a concern about safety, and there will, I'm certain, be a concern about the safety of witnesses. Are you exploring ways to allow people to testify, at the same time keeping them safe? We don't have a witness protection program in South Africa. And at the same time knowing how to adjudge their evidence, how to assess their evidence if they won't come forward and say who they are?
So, again, these are very sensitive issues. Witnesses, whistleblowers, and needless to say, the Commission wants as much information as possible within the remit of the terms of reference. We want people to come forward and we want them to feel safe about coming forward. So we are indeed going to be putting in place mechanisms to protect them. But that is, of course, within the powers of the Commission, within the powers that have been prescribed, and the regulations and the rules are being finalized, will be published, and within the law as it stands. So we are going to be doing what we can, and we will make pronouncements in that regard as soon as possible.
Obviously, there's a lot of information to sort of start off with. At this stage, are you only going to rely on the information that you have and follow that up and seek witnesses from there? Or are you going to invite people to give you evidence? In other words, people can actually contact the Commission and say, I saw this happen, or X, Y, Z, and this person talking to that person.
Again, it's early days. The investigation has gotten off, but it's only really just started. And so the team will make those decisions at an appropriate point. But I can say that there are quite a number of people who have already come forward to offer the Commission information. And there are other issues, for example, the fact that, and we did say it earlier this week, that the procurement, within the confines of the PFMA and everything that goes with that is still underway. We are looking at a couple of options for venues here in Gauteng. That also still has to be finalized. It's quite advanced. The team has been out looking at potential venues, etc. But also the IT systems that we need to procure need to make sure that the information that we are dealing with and that people want to offer us is secure.
The timelines are going to be very tight. So the President has said he wants an interim report in 3 months. Now, an interim report, even though it wouldn't be a final report, could well have serious consequences. I mean, your interim report might say, Stephen Curtis met this person, and this is the video of them exchanging cash. Now, Stephen Curtis might lose his job, which means that the interim report needs to be managed almost as well as the final report. And yet you only have 3 months to do it. It seems, I'm afraid to say, a very tough job.
Well, I think we heard the President again this morning stressing the timelines, 3 months for the interim report, 6 months for the final report, and obviously with the proviso that an extension might be considered if it's required. And that is what we are working with. We're very conscious of the urgency, and so that is precisely why we have hit the ground running as the team, even when the infrastructure isn't quite in place yet, because we understand the urgency, and that is the brief of the Commission. And let's see what comes up. If there is a need, it is tight. And if there is a need, then I'm sure the Commission will make that call.
I'm sorry to say this, and I have no crystal ball, and my predictions are often wrong. You can ask the Reserve Bank Governor about that. But it seems unlikely to me that this can be done in anything less than 2 years. If you look at the sheer scope of what has to be examined, the importance of what's being claimed, and the fact that everyone in South Africa goes to court whenever we can, it seems unlikely that it can be done in 2 years. I mean, realistically, I can't see 6 months.
No doubt it is tight, as I say, but we have been given a very clear timeline. We are going to work with that as far as is practically possible, and let's see what happens over the next few months.
And just to confirm, the testimony will be in public. We'll have public hearings. I mean, maybe not every witness, but
yes,
I'm sure we would want to see Mkhwanazi, for example, stating his claims under oath and taking questions about it.
Yes, we have said that the first hearing or hearings will take place in the month of August, this month. Yeah, I mean, I think the evidence and the consultations that are taking place at the moment will determine the program.
Jeremy Michaels, thanks very much indeed.